She walked into a gun store wearing torn sneakers. They laughed. She asked for a classified weapon. They froze. She split a coin at 160 meters. They went silent. Then a commander walked in and saluted her like a ghost. Her name was Nora Keaton. And in the next 60 seconds, everything they thought they knew shattered. Before we begin, tell us where are you watching from, and if you believe honor and courage still matter, help keep their legacy alive. The coin spun in the air, light catching every ridge. Half a circle of brass whirled down in silence. Then came the metallic ding as it split on the gravel. Hours earlier, the bell above a glass door chimed. Dust rolled in from Red Mesa, New Mexico. A woman in a faded green windbreaker stepped inside Desert Gate Outfitters. Her name was Nora Keaton. Her sneakers were frayed, canvas bag worn to threads. She looked like someone lost in the wrong shop. Ty Blevins, the wiry clerk, smirked from behind the counter. "Coffee house is across the street," he called. His tone was slick, loud enough to earn a few chuckles. Brent Harker, backward cap tilted, crossed his arms. "She thinks this place is a thrift store," he muttered. His buddies laughed like they were watching a show. Phones came out, quick flashes sparking. Sloane Avery, all gloss and perfect hair, lifted hers high. "Lost shopper at a gun store," she said, ready for her story. Zeke Danner, a teenager with a vape pen, whistled. "Those kicks bet she can't afford ammo." Another laugh ripple spread through the floor. Nora didn't answer. Her eyes moved past them, steady and calm. She tapped the glass display with 2 fingers. "Show me the Matador RX-12 Spectre," she said, "the pre-production model." Her voice was soft, but it cut like wire. The room froze. Ty's grin cracked into disbelief. Someone coughed into his drink, the sound awkward in the stillness. Manager Lyle Garner stepped from the back, broad-shouldered, buzz-cut, eyes narrowing at the request. He glanced once at Nora, then unlocked the vault. From inside he lifted a matte black rifle, scope long, barrel sleek, rails clean like a blade. Most in the room had never seen such a weapon outside of rumor. Brent gave a low whistle. He grabbed another rifle from the rack, tossed it toward Nora. "Careful, sweetheart. Might snap your wrist." Her hand flashed out. She caught it one-handed. No sway, no shake. Held it steady like it weighed nothing. The laughter died. Even Ty's smirk slipped a little, but he recovered fast, leaning forward. "Bet you can't break it down," he challenged. Nora set the rifle on the counter, fingers poised. 8 seconds later, the weapon lay stripped. Pin, barrel, bolt, each in perfect order. A soft beep from Ty's timer cut the silence. No one clapped. They only stared. Nora slid a paper clip from her canvas bag. She pressed it against the receiver with calm precision. .28 millimeters loose, she murmured. The crowd blinked. They didn't even understand the number. But gunsmith Eamon Pike did. He stepped closer, hands still stained with oil. His eyes caught the scar across Nora's knuckles, shaped like a thin arrow. His voice dropped to a whisper, rough as gravel. "I've seen that grip before. Shadow Lynx." The words landed heavier than a shout. Cole Maddox, the mercenary by the door, stiffened at the name. No one else dared speak. Ty tried to laugh again, but the sound was hollow. He nodded toward the outdoor range, eager to shift control. "One way to settle this," Lyle said flatly. "A coin. 160 meters. No one's ever hit it." He hung the silver disc on a string, sunlight glinting off its edge. Nora stepped outside. The gravel crunched under her sneakers, dry wind brushing her hair. The crowd spilled after, eyes wide, waiting for her to stumble. She laid her canvas bag on the dirt, kneeled, shouldered the Spectre with a single fluid motion. Her breath slowed, shoulders steady. 1.8 seconds on the scope. Her finger curved smooth against the trigger. The rifle cracked, sharp and clean. The coin snapped in half. Brass spun in sunlight, tumbling like falling stars. The pieces clinked against the gravel and lay still. The world went silent. No laughter, no words, only the faint smell of gunpowder drifting on desert air. Ty's clipboard slipped from his hand. Brent's smirk vanished. Jaw tight. Sloane lowered her phone, fingers trembling against the screen. Nora stood, calm, expression unchanged. She walked back toward the counter, every step measured, her silence heavier than any shout. Inside, the broken coin lay as proof. And the room knew, though none dared say it, she wasn't lost at all. The air outside still hummed from the coin shot. No one spoke as Nora laid the specter back on the counter, but Lyle Garner's jaw was tight, eyes flicking toward the liability forms pinned behind the register. "This isn't enough," he muttered. "One shot doesn't prove control." He raised his voice. "If she wants to show off, she runs the gauntlet." The crowd stirred. Whispers chasing each other across the floor. Targets were dragged out steel plates at 200, 350, 500 yards. A timer sat ready on the bench, red digits blinking. Eamon Pike bent over the rifle. Quietly, he slipped a dummy round into the magazine stack. The double feed would jam mid-sequence. A portable fan was rolled into place, blades turning to stir desert air. The gusts cut sideways across the lane. Someone snickered, thinking the setup would break her calm. Nora said nothing. She pulled her canvas bag against the gravel. The faded lynx patch caught sunlight, barely visible, nearly erased. She checked the chamber, smooth and methodical. No wasted motion, no nerves. The specter rested against her shoulder as if molded for her frame. "Timer ready," Lyle announced. "3 plates. 1 run. Let's see her fail." His voice carried more doubt than confidence. The numbers lit up 0, 0, 0. A sharp beep cracked the silence. Nora moved. First shot. Steel rang at 200. The plate rocked back, paint flaking. She adjusted without pause. Second plate. 350. The crack echoed, impact dead center. Then came the jam. Bolt froze. Cartridge trapped. The timer ticked mercilessly overhead. The crowd leaned forward, hungry for her stumble. But Nora's hands never hesitated. She stripped the mag, cleared the chamber, slammed it back with one smooth motion. The rifle barked again. 500 yards. Target spinning on its hinge. The timer beeped. Final seconds flashing. Nora lowered the rifle, calm as stone, her breathing steady, no flush of effort. The red digits froze under par. For a moment, nothing. Then the weight of what she had done settled over the yard. 3 shots. 1 jam cleared. Every plate down. Brent's mouth twitched. Words dying in his throat. Zeke's vape pen slipped from his fingers. Sloane closed her app without posting. Cole Maddox muttered under his breath. "That wind same as Tumbleweed Ridge. Saw it once before." His voice held more memory than mockery. Eamon stared at the specter's bolt, then at Nora's hands. The arrow-shaped scar was plain now, white against sunburned skin. He swallowed hard and said nothing. Ty Blevins broke the silence. "Not enough," he barked, though his voice cracked. "She still needs papers. ID. Registration." Nora stood. She reached into her canvas bag, pulled out a small card, edges worn, colors almost gone. Ty snatched it, holding it up. No name, no photo, just numbers. "Looks like a library card." The crowd chuckled nervously, desperate for balance. Lyle folded his arms. Store rules, no registration, no high-grade weapons. He tried to sound firm, but the tension in his jaw betrayed him. Nora didn't argue. She took the card back, slid it into her bag, zipped the pack closed with a sound sharp in the stillness. Her expression never changed. She slung the bag across her shoulder, turned toward the door, steps quiet on the gravel. The room shifted uneasily, some relieved, others uneasy, none satisfied. It felt like watching a storm choose to pass them by. Brent let out a shaky laugh. "Yeah, walk away. That's what I thought." But no one echoed him this time. Even Zeke stayed silent, eyes glued to the dirt. Eamon pressed a cloth to his palms, as if to steady them. Cole Maddox followed Nora's silhouette with a stare that held recognition. The wind from the fan still blew across the lane. The plate swung gently, marked with fresh bullet scars. Every clang still echoed in the crowd's ears. Nora reached the door, hand on the handle. She paused once, not to look back, not to speak. She only adjusted her grip on the strap, pulled the door open, stepped into the desert light. Behind her, silence thickened again. No laughter, no sneers. Only the sound of a timer still blinking red. The door swung open before Nora could step fully outside. A shadow cut across the threshold, sharp and deliberate. Boots struck the floor with the weight of command. Commander Elias Ward entered. Tall, precise, dressed in a black field jacket. His presence shifted the room like pressure before a storm. He didn't look at anyone else. His eyes locked straight on Nora. He closed the distance without pause. The crowd shuffled back, giving way. Ty's smirk vanished. Clipboard pressed tight against his chest. Even Lyle swallowed hard, his arms dropping to his sides. Ward leaned close, voice low but clear. "Confirmation 642, he said. "Your next assignment begins tonight." The words hit like a coded detonation. No one understood except Nora. She gave a single nod, calm, unblinking. Then came the gesture. Ward placed his hand flat against his chest. Not military regulation, something older, something hidden. Eamon Pike knew it instantly. So did Cole Maddox. Scarred hands curling tight. The salute of the Shadow Lynx reserved for those erased from record. A hush spread through the shop, the kind that made every breath feel too loud. No one laughed. No one dared. Ward turned, eyes sweeping the room. His tone was clipped, official. Effective immediately, today's range use is free for all veterans. He pointed at the counter. A code of conduct goes up where customers can see it. His gaze pinned Ty and Lyle in place. "Both your names," he added, "will be filed in the report. No anger, no shouting, just procedure. Cold and final." Ty's clipboard slipped from his hand. It hit the tile with a hollow clap. Lyle only nodded, his buzz cut damp with sudden sweat. The crowd shifted, shame sinking in. Brent stared at the floor, cap twisted in his grip. Sloane's phone stayed in her pocket now, screen dark. Nora didn't move. Her bag hung loose, strap creasing her shoulder. She waited as if nothing surprised her. Ward gave one more nod. Then he turned away, posture sharp as a drawn blade. He stood by the door, waiting. Nora walked back to the counter. She set the Spectre down exactly where it had rested before. Her hands brushed the glass with quiet precision. From her pocket, she drew a small metal case. Not large, no bigger than a lighter. She placed it on the counter with a click of steel against glass. The case bore faint etching, scratched by years of carry. A mark almost invisible, the silhouette of a lynx head. Eamon's eyes locked on it, breath caught in his throat. But Nora wasn't finished. She reached into her bag once more, brought out a single brass casing, dull but polished smooth. She set it beside the case. The sound was tiny, but it cut through the silence. A fragment of her past, left without explanation. Cole Maddox stepped forward, his voice low. "Seen that before," he muttered. Then he stopped, shaking his head, unwilling to finish. The casing gleamed under fluorescent light. Everyone stared, but no one spoke. Questions died in their throats. Nora zipped her bag. Her fingers lingered on the worn fabric, tracing the faded patch. The lynx head, almost erased, still visible to sharp eyes. She turned toward Ward, her steps steady, sneakers brushing gravel at the threshold. The doorframe framed her silhouette against the desert glare. Ward pushed the door open wider. Dust swirled in on the gust. He stood aside, letting her pass. Nora paused only once. She looked back at the room. Her gaze swept across faces. Flat, unreadable. The silence thickened, pressing every throat. Not a soul dared lift their voice. She stepped through the doorway without a word. Ward followed, closing the door behind them. The sound was final, like a chapter ending. Inside, the shop felt smaller than it had ever been. Eamon reached for the casing, fingers trembling. He turned it in his palm, the etched lines glinting. His jaw tightened, but he said nothing. Cole Maddox exhaled through his nose. Slow, heavy. He adjusted the strap on his rifle. Then he backed into the corner, shadow swallowing his figure. Ty bent down, scrambling for his clipboard. His hands shook so badly he nearly dropped it again. Lyle avoided every eye, staring only at the floor. The others remained frozen. No quips, no phones, no bravado, just the weight of what they had witnessed. Outside, gravel crunched under Nora's shoes. Ward's boots followed, steady and measured. The black SUV waited at the far edge of the lot. The driver's door opened with a soft creak. Nora slid inside, bag across her lap. Ward circled to the passenger seat without a word. The vehicle's engine hummed low. Tires rolled against dirt, lifting a thin veil of dust. The SUV moved off toward the horizon, disappearing into the desert haze. Back inside, the crowd still stood in place, every breath loud, every thought heavier than words. The silence lingered like a scar across the room. The black SUV vanished beyond the ridge. Dust hung in the air like smoke after a shot. Inside the store, silence pressed harder than any voice. No one moved first. Even the clock on the wall seemed too loud. The weight of the last hour lingered on every face. Eamon Pike stayed by the counter. The casing still rested in his palm. He turned it slowly, thumb brushing the etched lines. Ty crouched by the clipboard he had dropped. He tried to steady his hands, but the tremor wouldn't stop. His smirk, his confidence all stripped bare. Lyle Garner retreated to his office. The door shut behind him with a hollow thud. No orders, no instructions, just the sound of a man hiding. Brent Harker tugged his cap low. He muttered something no one heard and slunk toward the exit. His swagger gone, replaced by silence. Sloane Avery checked her phone. Her finger hovered above the screen, but she didn't post. For the first time, she had no words to dress the moment. Zeke Danner bent to grab his vape pen. He shoved it into his pocket, eyes locked on the floor. The teenager's bravado had evaporated like mist in desert sun. Cole Maddox stood by the wall. His eyes lingered on the counter. On the casing Nora left. Then he exhaled, long and heavy, and walked out without a word. Eamon placed the casing back beside the metal case. He adjusted his glasses, his voice low. .28 millimeters, he muttered, as though confirming her warning. Later that night, he stayed long after closing. He pulled 3 Spectres from storage, each brand new, one by one. He checked the receivers. The flaw was there, exactly as Nora had said. He tightened each with careful hands, whispering thanks to no one. Across town, Brent's video went live. A shaky recording of Nora catching the rifle, splitting the coin, clearing the jam. He captioned it with a sneer, certain it would earn him praise. By morning, it turned against him. Comments tore him apart, line after line calling him cruel, ignorant. By noon, his sponsor cut ties, statement blunt, conduct unbecoming. Sloane tried to spin the story at brunch. She called it a funny moment, a silly thrift store girl act. Her friends didn't laugh. By the following week, her invites stopped. No more dinners, no more calls. Her circle had collapsed around her silence. Ty found an envelope on his desk, termination notice, signed and final. He didn't argue, just folded it and walked out the back. Lyle faced a government liaison. No words exchanged, just a file handed across the counter. He didn't open it, he already knew. That night, the store felt hollow. Customers came and went, but voices stayed low. The bravado that once filled the air was gone. Eamon kept the casing locked in a drawer, not as a trophy, not as proof, as a reminder that precision leaves marks deeper than stories. Cole Maddox drank alone in a roadside bar. He told the bartender one line. Storm like that only comes once in a lifetime. He didn't say her name, didn't need to. The bartender nodded, sensing weight he couldn't measure. Meanwhile, the video spread. Not just across town, but across the country. People whispered about the woman who asked for the Spectre and walked out with silence behind her. Rumors grew. A sniper who once fired through storm winds. A unit called Shadow Lynx, said to exist only in shadows. No proof, only fragments. A scar shaped like an arrow, a casing left on glass. Nora Keaton never returned to Red Mesa. She didn't linger for applause. Her life moved to the next horizon, quiet and steady. The SUV carried her deeper into desert night. Bag across her lap, Lynx patch faded against worn fabric. Her gaze fixed ahead, never backward. Ward sat beside her, eyes forward. He didn't speak. Didn't need to. The mission waited, clock already ticking. Inside the store, echoes remained. A split coin, a casing on glass, and a silence no one could forget. For those who had mocked her, the memory burned sharp. For those who had witnessed, the respect ran deeper. For Nora, it was simply another doorway closed. Her strength was never in shouting, never in demanding. It was in proof, left behind like brass on gravel. And for anyone who has been underestimated, dismissed, or laughed at, her story is yours too. You don't argue. You prove. You move forward. Where are you watching from? Tell your story in the comments. And join us tomorrow for the next chapter, Waiting in the Shadows. If you enjoyed the story, consider sending a super chat to help bring more stories like this. Now, click on the video on the screen to hear another story that's just as powerful and captivating, with courage, sacrifice, and a choice that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about duty and justice.